Good time to get going. Jane, I think you wanted to kick off with a few words.
Yeah, please. Thank you very much, Glenn. Yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jane Sloan. I'm Senior Learning and Development Advisor here at Diabetes UK. So I'm Diabetes UK staff member. I just really wanted to welcome everybody to the session today, which is all about raising awareness of what is technically possible to support people with diabetes related sight issues or sight loss. So it's going to be a fascinating session. All I want to say on practicalities is, just in case nobody's aware, the session is being recorded. You may be able to see a little recording button on your screen. We do that for the benefit of colleagues who couldn't join on the day, so that we'll make the recording available afterwards for people to view in their own time. So do be aware that that is being recorded at the moment. And this is part of our Knowing Diabetes educational program that we offer to staff members on a monthly basis, although we've actually got 2 sessions going on this month, so it's a bumper month for Knowing Diabetes. Glenn, you're going to facilitate, I think, throughout the session, and we're going to hand over to Dan in a minute for his introduction. But just to say, there will be time for Q&A as the session progresses. We may save up some questions towards the end and ask them in a sort of block, if you like. But otherwise, if you do have a question, do feel free to put it on the chat as we go through the session. And Glenn Tukey will be reviewing those questions as we go along. Some may get answered straight away, some will save till later in the session. And otherwise, obviously, your cameras are off at the moment, and please mute your microphones as well until the Q&A session later on. So I think that's really all I needed to say at this point. So I'd like to then hand over to Dan Howarth, Head of Care here at Diabetes UK. And Dan, you're going to just say a few words as well about sort of the context for the session today, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Thank you very much, Jane. Just to double check with you, Jane, have I got 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or how long am I?
It's allowed 5.
Oh, lovely.
That's all right. So
yeah, absolutely.
I've not got a stopwatch, so whatever you want to say.
That's all right. So I think this is going to be a really interesting session, learning about the kind of technological advances that people with sight loss can benefit from. I mean, we live in a very technology kind of world. We have just less than 5 minutes ago, rather than listening to someone look out the window to tell us it's raining in Kent, we used a phone to tell us it's raining in Kent and Sussex. So I think technology is so trustworthy and so ingrained in our lives. The complications of diabetes that we always talk about, one of the most feared complications is sight loss amongst people with diabetes. The fact is that years ago, sight loss used to be a given for people with diabetes, and it used to very much be known as the leading cause of sight loss in the working age group in the UK. And thanks to lots of screening and lots of research, that's now no longer the case. We can actually caveat that and say it's the leading cause of preventable sight loss. And a little bit of a history in the technology of this, in that we know, and our research colleagues will tell us even more finer detail than this, but in 1986, Diabetes UK funded the first diabetic eye screening program. And that was everyone's friend Roy Taylor traveling around the Northeast in an ambulance, taking photos of the back of people's eyes. And based on that research alone, the National Diabetic Eye Screening Program was launched in 2002. So it took almost 15 or so years to get that technology to where we needed it to be. And screening at the back of people's eyes literally does save sight, because any changes that we see, we can start an intervention to help. Now that intervention might be just to focus on the glycemic or the blood sugar, the diabetes control. It might be to focus on the blood pressure control or the blood cholesterol, the blood fat control. But it really has this technology, these advances, this research that we've very much been part of, has really got this capability to not only improve people's lives, but prevent any kind of further damage later on. There is so many different variances in sight loss in people with diabetes that we really do struggle to kind of explain it. But we have tried in the past, and we've got on our web pages about retinopathy and maculopathy or diabetic eye disease, various different pictures. And classically, the sight loss that people with diabetes and retinopathy or maculopathy develop will be the constant floaters that we might talk about a little bit later on, those little grey or black wisps that float through the eyes, awfully called floaters, but that's what they do, they float. We also know that there's a sight loss that kind of narrows in, so it removes the peripheral vision, and we've only got this tunnel vision or this central vision, really. And then ultimately, you know, without treatment, without preventative measures, without screening, blindness or severe sight loss is the kind of almost the final outcome, which a lot of people obviously are worried about. A lot of people are nervous about, and our colleagues and friends over at the RNIB have loads of great things that help, from you know, extra large foam pads and stuff like this. But I think what's going to be really interesting from this talk is how these technological advances improve the lives of potentially people with diabetes. So that's all I'm going to say as an introduction. We have spoken lots about eye disease in the past, and to the etiology, the reason that it happens. We've got a lot on our website and on our I Know pages as well. So take a look on there if you need a refresher. But I think I'll hand over to Tony or Sam.
Glenn, actually.
Or Glenn, even.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The boss.
It was one of the three of us. Thanks very much, Dan, Jane, too. Welcome, everybody. I can see we've got 46 people in now, so that's a great session for us, and welcome this morning. Sam, if you can pop up the first screen, that will be really good. The next one will be good. So we're from Sight and Sound Technology. We're the largest provider of eye care services when it comes down to technology in the UK. We've been around for 43 years, best known because we work in low vision blindness. We're also quite prolific in the area of literacy, dyslexia, dyspraxia, spend a lot of time looking after students as well. So we have about 55,000 people who we look after with technology, supporting them in the eye care and literacy sectors. We're into auditing, assessing, most importantly, we think, designing the right technology to fit people's actual conditions and their needs and ambitions in life. And we're hopefully famed for our training and tech support teams, because you can push all the technology you like at people, but if you don't help them get to use it and you don't support them through their lifetime with the technology, then they don't get the value from it and don't meet those objectives in life that they're trying to set out. So what we'd like to do with you today is take you through a number of case studies with different types of condition that someone with diabetes would suffer from in terms of sight loss. And we're going to try to show you the technologies that might well help them meet those objectives and ambitions, do their jobs, operate in employment, or just operate in their lives. So we will do that with you today. We have a chat box at the bottom of your screen. You can click into there and ask questions as you go along, and I'll do my best to answer them in the background. We'll bring them into the session if they're big questions that need answering or clarification for anything we're talking about. But at the end, we'll give you the chance also to ask us any questions as well. So without more ado, I'm going to hand over to my colleagues, Tony and Sam, who are going to run the session for you today. Hope you enjoy it. Look forward to some feedback afterwards. Thank you very much, and over to you, Sam.
Great, thank you, Glenn. Morning, everyone. Yeah, my name's Sam, and yeah, I'm going to kick off with the first scenario. We'll try and wrap up about 10:02, so we'll leave plenty of time for questions, but do use the chat box, as Glenn said, throughout the session as well. Good. Okay, so The first of two scenarios, case studies that we'll be looking at today. This is David. David's 59 and he's a retired warehouse worker. David has diabetic macular edema and he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes 15 years ago. And his sight gradually deteriorated and forced him to take early retirement. David is a smoker and he does experience hypertension. Some of David's difficulties, and these are key in order for us obviously to find technology that will support these difficulties. So yeah, locating text due to blurred or double vision, so any reading material, David struggles to pick it up. Operating a mobile phone or a tablet, obviously, as Daniel alluded to at the beginning, phones are a very important part of most people's lives now. So how can we support David with using a mobile phone or a tablet? Poor night vision and loss of color perception. And then finally, we've got general orientation, obviously due to his blurred vision. Mobility can be tricky for anybody with blurred vision. So we're going to be looking at technologies to support indoor and outdoor orientation as well. Good. So there's a lot packed in there, a lot for you to take in to begin with. But now what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at some solutions that we feel would support David with those difficulties. Before we do that, we've got a slide which is quite a general simulation of how David sees the world. You can clearly see there the blurred vision, double vision, if you like. So orientating, indoor or outdoors is going to be tricky for David. Okay, potential solutions. So the first one we've got is a wearable device. I'm actually going to demonstrate this for you in just a second. So I won't dig into it too much at the moment, but this, as I said, it's wearable. It comes in the form of a pair of glasses, and it has a camera attached to the glasses there, which allows the user to scan any printed, handwritten, or digital text, and it converts it into audio and plays it through a little speaker at the back of the glasses. But there is so much more packed into these glasses. It's much more than just a text-to-speech device. It also has built-in video calling, lots of other features. So I'll cover that in just a second. Our second suggested solution, a portable video magnifier. These come in all different shapes and sizes, different obviously size of screens, a few varying features as well. And Tony's actually going to talk us through a sort of variety of these devices as well. So I'll hand over to Tony in just a second. Third solution, obviously we talked about operating a mobile phone. How can we support somebody with a visual impairment to use a mobile phone as a sighted person would? Now this is called the Smart Vision 2. It's made by a company called Capsys over in France, and this phone is specifically designed for somebody with a visual impairment. So it has a tactile keypad at the bottom of the phone there. It also has a touchscreen section to the phone at the top, but you're not forced to use that touchscreen. So for somebody that has no vision at all, or that's severely sight impaired that can't see the touchscreen, they can interact with the phone via the tactile keypad, or they can use their voice. So you can hold down a button on the side of the phone and you can say, call Sam, or you can dictate a text message, you can dictate an email. But obviously, most importantly, for somebody that is visually impaired, they need most things audio based. So the phone has a built-in screen reader. So everything on that phone would be read out loud for you. All of the menus, all of the settings, all of your text messages, any news articles, if you were in the BBC News app, etc. Everything's would be read out loud for you. So it's a fully accessible device for somebody with a visual impairment. Fourth solution we've got is an app. This is a free app and it's completely free as well. There's no in-app purchases. It's completely free and it's called Be My Eyes. Many of you may have heard of this. It's very, very popular now. There's over 4 million sighted volunteers now around the world, and this allows somebody with a visual impairment to connect with a sighted volunteer if they need some support. So for instance, I have a client who uses Be My Eyes to read his electricity meter. So obviously he holds his phone up in front of his electricity meter, he connects to a sighted volunteer through Be My Eyes, and they can read his meter for him. Make sure he's not paying too much money. He's obviously a Yorkshireman. Doesn't like to be spending money if he doesn't have to. Fifth solution we've got for David is the Sunu Band, and this again is another wearable. attaches to your wrist, just like a wristwatch. But the Sunu band, essentially, it's obviously it's a mobility device, but essentially it emits a sonar wave, which then bounces off an object, a person, a lamppost, a car, a tree, whatever it might be, and then it sends that wave back to the watch, and the watch vibrates. The Sunu band vibrates, and depending on how aggressive that vibration is, that gives you an indication of how close you are to that object. Okay, so it's got two modes. It's got object avoidance mode, but it also has a navigation mode as well. So this can be paired to a smartphone app. So David can pair this to an app on his Smart Vision 2 mobile phone, and he can plot his destination in the app, and using the watch and his phone combined, sorry, using the Sunu band and his phone combined, he has a navigation device, and he also has an object avoidance device as well. So this is going to support David walking to the shops if he's in an unfamiliar place, so he's not sure of his surroundings. Yeah, this is going to help. Good. So those are our 5 suggested solutions. As I mentioned, we've got a few live demonstrations now for you. I'm going to hand over to Tony first, who's going to talk us through the portable video magnifiers. So I'll just unshare my screen. Tony's spotlit. So over to you, Tony.
Thanks very much, Sam. Okay, is that spotlit? Because it doesn't show on mine. Yep.
Yes, you
Everybody
are spotlit.
Happy. Good.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to run through a range of portable magnifiers for you. These are electronic video magnifiers, 3 of which are in a family called Ruby. This particular one I'm showing is the XLHD. This features a 5-inch screen. I'll go through the others in just a while. Once we turn this on, as you'll see, it magnifies the image from a camera, which is under here. So it's picking up this magazine. Now, we can adjust the magnification on a continuous zoom, up or down, to suit our requirements. Now, color contrast is very important for somebody with visual impairment. There is full color. So if I'm showing pictures, yeah, that's great. I can see the full color, but the text is not as clear as it might be. So we can change that. There's a whole range. There's a high contrast black and white. There's a negative. A lot of people prefer a negative image, particularly with photophobia. Blue and yellow, yellow and black. I know we're talking about retinopathy, but that is particularly good for macular degeneration as well, which is why the MD Society use it as their house colors. When you're out and about, this is well and good for reading a magazine, a newspaper, a book, or anything like that. It's got a 45-degree reading angle, so quite comfortable to sit at a table and read. However, if we're out and about in the shops, it's got a handle, which just pulls out in 2 positions. Turn it back on. Now we've got a handheld magnifier, and I can use this to look at pricing, sell-by dates, ingredients, all sorts of things while I'm out and about. Now that's, as I say, is the 5-inch model. There's a larger one, which has got a 7-inch screen. Okay, again with a 45-degree reading angle. This one doesn't have a handle, but you can hold it in that fashion. But all the features you've just seen in the smaller one apply to this one too. So increase, decrease magnification levels, change the color contrast to suit your requirements. Okay, the difference with this, the camera is in that little, let's bring it forward a bit, in this little black cylinder here. It's a pivot cam, so that will now swing 180 degrees. And if I put that there and change to full color, you'll get some indication. So without going too over the top, you can adjust the magnification suit. You've got a makeup mirror, perhaps, magnifying mirror. So that can be quite useful. It's also good for a certain amount, and I stress a certain amount of distance vision by holding it. As I say, it doesn't have a handle. But if I point the camera up there, you'll see the picture on my wall. So good for distance viewing as well, that one. Let's come down a level. This is a little baby version. 4.3-inch screen on this one. Does have a handle, so you can use it as you can with the XLHD, but no 45-degree angle. You're looking down on top of it. Turn that one on. So all the same buttons, all the same features, but there is a difference with this handle that can be quite useful. If I pull the handle down to about that angle, I can now go behind it. Now we do a scenario where there's a lady into stitchcraft, and she can quite easily thread a needle using the Ruby HD, the little one. I have a client who ties fishing flies using that particular device in the same fashion. So that's the 3 Rubies. Now I'm going to bring in another one, which goes up a stage. Let's put the camera back a bit so you can see it. This is a 10-inch screen. Okay, if I turn it on here, it operates in very much the same way as the other 3, although everything is touchscreen. When this finally kicks up, there we go. You'll notice we've now got icons on a touch screen, so we can increase the magnification, decrease it, change the color contrasts, just as we did before. Or alternatively, we can use this with the gestures that you'd expect on a touch screen to increase and decrease the magnification. And that's great as a magnifier. But I'll pull that up. Something's just happened to my... Can you hear me? Because I've just had a message up saying my microphone's changed.
I still hear you.
You still hear me? Okay, I'll have a look at that in a second. I don't know why that should appear. Okay, so this arm pulls up. Okay, and on the end of that, there is another camera. So if I, using this, move that over there, I can line the text up in here. Don't need to be able to read it, but I can line the text up there, tap the button in the middle, and it's just taken a snapshot using this camera here. It's processing. Let's show you. It's processing.
In 2010, we helped launch one of the largest single-site conservation projects in southern England, the return of red deer to 720 hectares of heathland in Surrey.
So now I can have that text read back to me audibly using that additional camera. That's the Compact 10 because it's a 10-inch, and it's dual function. Not only is it magnifier, but it also gives you that text-to-speech feature. So they're the portable magnifiers, extremely useful, extremely popular, and it's back to you, Sam.
Great, thank you, Tony. Okay, we'll remove your spotlight.
And I'll see if I can sort out my speakers.
No problem. Okay, good. So now I'm going to give it a quick whiz through the Envision smart glasses, which is the device that I've currently got on my head at the moment. So yeah, this is again a wearable device. So it's quite futuristic looking, quite contemporary in its style. But what we've got here is we've got a titanium band on the left-hand side and the front of the glasses. There's no lenses at all. It's just a completely open frame. There's no lenses, but all the technology is on the right-hand side. So if I just remove my headset, all the technology is here. So we've got a touch pad here, which is the sort of the control center of the glasses. This is where we tell Envision what we need it to do. We've got a camera at the front here, which is obviously the most important section. And then we've got a little plastic prism just here, which is called the Google Glass. Okay, so this device, the hardware is made by Google, and the software is made by Envision. So they've combined to make the Envision smart glasses. So yeah, I'm going to give you a quick whiz through the a couple of the features. I can't go through all of them because yeah, I could easily spend an hour on Envision. There's so much packed into it. But this is going to support David with his reading documents, letters, newspapers, articles, food packaging, whatever it might be. But it's also going to help him to connect with sighted, if he needs sighted support, sighted assistance. He can call family members, he can call friends directly through the glasses, and they can see what he's looking at through this camera. So let's have a go. So I'm just going to wake up the glasses.
Home, read, call.
Now I've connected the Envision glasses to a Bluetooth speaker, just so we get a little bit more audio for you.
Identify.
Yeah, hopefully that's okay. Tony will tell me if it's not.
Home.
Good. So let's have a look at the reading feature first. So as I mentioned, we've got a touchpad on the side of the Envision glasses. So I'm going to swipe forward.
Read.
And the first category is read. Double tap.
Scan text.
And we've got scan text. Now, with scan text, to give the user some indication of obviously how much text is in front of the camera for a visually impaired user, they're going to need some guidance. Obviously, they're not able to distinguish, is the text in exactly the right place? Is it in the best position to scan the text? They're going to need some support. Now, as well as that, okay, for somebody, David may be okay, depending on how severe his edema, macular edema is, but for somebody perhaps that's more severely sight impaired, that isn't able to identify whether there's light in the room, okay, it's very important for Envision that it has a good light source to accurately scan the text. So
recall, identified.
If I go to identify, we have what we call a light detection feature.
Detect, recognize, detect light.
Detect light. So this is going to tell me, if there's a good light source in the room, so then I know that I can accurately scan some text. So if I go into light detection, hopefully you can hear a beep. It's a sort of constant tone. Okay. Now the higher the tone, so the more light is in the room. Okay, I'm just going to turn up.
The higher the pitch of the tone, the more light that is being detected.
Okay, so now
a very low pitch means it is very dark.
If I turn to my window, I'm going to open my blind now in my office. Okay, so you can hear the tone increasing. Yeah, I'm just going to shut my blind again. There we go. Okay, and you can hear the tone decreasing, which is telling me that the light isn't as good. Okay, if I look to the floor, for instance, the tone will just stop altogether. Yeah, so we need a high pitch, which is telling us there's a good light source.
Detect light, identify, call, read.
And then once I've got a good light source, I can go back to read.
Read, scan text, instant text, scan text.
Scan text. Okay, here we go. So we're going to get a frequency of beeps now, which is going to tell me how much text is in front of the camera. Okay.
A faster frequency of beeps means that more words are detected. Double tap to scan the text.
And then when I'm ready, I'm going to double tap the side of the glasses. There we go. Takes a few seconds to process.
Reader, W, XYZ maps North England postcode district map, and show TAKEAR, 03628. If you are among the growing numbers of people with low vision, you may find that an electronic magnifier can assist with tasks such as reading fine print or viewing classroom presentation.
There we go.
Go. Change 53, 60%, 66%. Reader, if you are among the growing numbers of people with low vision, you may find that an electronic magnifier can assist with tasks such as reading fine print or viewing classroom presentations. Go.
There we go.
And
I'm going to
portable
pause that for a second. So it scanned this document very, very well. It actually picked up some text behind the document on the wall as well. It picked up a map. So it is very, very sensitive. So it will pick up any text that it comes into contact with. But you can hear the accuracy there. You can hear the clarity, and the diction as well is very, very good. Obviously, I've got it connected to a speaker, but if I hadn't, the audio would be coming through a little speaker at the back of the glasses, so that only David would hear that. Okay, only the user would hear that. You can connect it to Bluetooth headphones as well if you want to be extra discreet, if you're on the bus in a public place. But there you go. So that's the text-to-speech element. There was a lot more to that as well. There's other reading features, but we'll move on very quickly to the
reader. Single tap to play or pause the swipe down scan text.
We're going to move on to the Envision Ally feature. Now, this is the feature which I mentioned, which would allow David to call a sighted person if you want to connect with some family, if you need some help.
Read, call.
I'm actually going to call Tony just to demonstrate this this feature. So I'm going to call Tony through the glasses, and then via Tony's smartphone, an app on his smartphone, he'll be able to see exactly what I'm looking at, fingers crossed. So here we go.
Call an ally.
Loading my allies.
Tony.shrub@sideansound.co.uk. Tony.shrub@sidean. Connecting with Tony.shrub@sideansound.co.uk.
So on my phone and through an Ally app, I get that notification telling me there's a video call from Sam.
Go.
There you go. And now I can see Sam. I can see exactly what you see on your screen. I'll turn my phone around and hope this works.
There we go. So
No,
now,
it's gone. There we go.
there.
So there is exactly what Sam is looking at. And using the app, we can have a two-way conversation. Can you hear me, Sam?
I can hear you loud and clear. You might be getting some echo, everybody. That's
yeah.
There you go. So thank you, Tony.
Okay.
Yeah, and then to end the call, swipe down.
Swipe down and call ended.
Swipe down again. There you go.
Tony.shrub@sideansound home.
Great. So that's Envision, everyone. There's so much more in there, but we have to move on because of time, obviously. But yeah, brilliant, brilliant device. And there's lots packed in to support somebody with a visual impairment. So there we go. That's Envision. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to reshare my screen for you all. There we are. So, okay. Good. And before we review the solutions, we've got a very quick video, which is going to give you an idea of how Be My Eyes works.
If you can't see very well, some tasks can be a little challenging, like cooking.
Is this the tomato can? Or is it the baked beans?
Or trying to pick clothes that match.
Is this tie red? Does it go with that shirt?
For people who are blind or have low vision, some everyday tasks can be tricky. Having quick and easy access to assistance would be really helpful. Hans-Jørgen Viberg had a vision to help the visually impaired, like himself, in such daily challenges. He created an app which connects people who need assistance with a pair of friendly eyes. Since our launch in 2015, Be My Eyes has seen an out.
You lost it.
We
Sam.
lost him.
I think we lost Sam.
Whatever time of day it is, she connects to someone
Could you help me find my keys?
who is more than happy to spare a few minutes to assist her in solving a problem.
Sure thing.
But sometimes more challenging issues arise that call for a more expert set of eyes, like your computer making spooky sounds. In 2018, we introduced specialized help, connecting users to customer support specific to their needs, to troubleshoot and solve more complex issues. Microsoft and Google were the first to come on board, and we're now inviting more companies to join us to create a healthy ecosystem of value and purpose. Together, we can make the world more inclusive to people with disabilities.
Is Sam still there?
Come if you are sighted and want to volunteer, or if you're a company which wants to provide enhanced and inclusive customer support. We welcome you into the Be My Eyes community. Let's make the world a more accessible place for everyone.
Hi, Sam, you still there?
Looks like the screen is frozen.
Does, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see what I can do about this. Glenn, you still there?
I'm still here, yeah.
Oh, you're
here.
still there.
Yeah,
Good,
yeah.
good. Okay, bear with me a second. Where are we?
Glenn, I noticed a question about the cost of these sorts of devices and grants and that kind of thing. Is that something you could talk about now while?
Yeah, while we're getting Sam back, actually, I was just answering it in the chat box, but
right, okay.
the handhelds range from about $399 right up to $1,200 for that text-to-speech 10-inch type device. The Envision glasses you've just seen are $2,895, which is a fair amount of money, no doubt about that, but they obviously do quite a lot of things as well. There is access to grants, but they are very narrow and focused, unfortunately, in the UK. Access to Work will fund the devices in the workplace, and Disabled Students Allowance funds students at university only. So outside of that, either the education institution has to fund it, or people have to fund them themselves. So there are only two very narrow areas where there's government funding for technology. All of the technology for blind and visually impaired is VAT-free to the user, though, so there is a 20% saving there in at that end. Yeah, funding only through Access to Work and Disabled Students Allowance. Often charities have some funds themselves, do help out those who are the hardest, obviously hit, but that is a little bit few and far between, really. Tony, do you want to pick up here? And
I was hoping to pick up. Oh, Sam's back.
Hello.
Hi there.
Yeah, sorry.
Good, because I couldn't open the presentation on my machine.
Are you picking up the screen share okay? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are.
Good.
It looks like when you run videos and that, Sam, we have to keep an eye because it feels like the bandwidth is just a bit too much for you.
Yeah. No problem. Sorry about that, everybody. But we're back up and running, and we'll kick on because I know we're pushed for time. So yeah, we'll probably we'll whiz through our final scenario. But yeah, here we are. So good. So now we've got a completely separate set of circumstances, completely different scenario with Yasmin. So Yasmin's 43, and she's a mature student. And Yasmin's family travelled to the UK seeking refuge when she was 10. So she's been here for over 30 years now. But due to a lack of care and knowledge of diabetes in Yasmin's country of birth, she wasn't screened until she arrived in the UK. And Yasmin was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. So we're dealing with type 1 now at age 15. And she later developed mild retinopathy. And during her first pregnancy, the retinopathy did increase. And this was due to poor control of blood sugar, blood pressure, and cholesterol levels. So Yasmin now has light perception only in both eyes. So Yasmin's now completely blind. But Glenn did just allude to the DSA support. So as Yasmin is a university student, she is eligible for the Disabled Students Allowance, government funding for technology, for equipment to support her with her studies. And as part of her course, Yasmin is using both digital and hard copy resources, printed material, and she is expected to provide printed coursework. Okay, so yeah, very, very different scenario now with Yasmin, and we're going to have a look at some solutions to support that. Again, another simulation, so light perception only there, gives you an idea of how Yasmin sees the world and our potential solutions. So first of all, we've got a dual solution. We've got the Pearl camera and the open book software combined. So hopefully from the graphic there, you can see the foldable, portable Pearl camera. Okay, that's unfolds in 3 clicks. You can pop it in a bag, transport it from home to university, wherever Yasmin may be going, and it's plug and play. So she plugs that into her laptop, opens up the open book software, and then what Yasmin now has is she has a very, very accessible text-to-speech solution. So Yasmin can scan her printed material, her printed textbooks, which then obviously converts it into digital text on her open book software, but it also converts it to audio. So then Yasmin can listen to the textbooks read aloud. She could also edit any text via the software as well. So as well as reading mode, there is an edit mode. So Yasmin can edit the text, format her documents or her coursework, and it's all on a laptop in digital form. So it's a very, very good way of converting printed text to digital and to audio as well. Second solution is, this is another wearable. We just looked at Envision a second ago. Now this is the OrCam. This is another device which allows you to scan text and it converts it into audio as well. Okay, but this has some other additional features. It has facial recognition, for instance. So Yasmin will be able to look at her family, her children, her relatives, and it will be able to tell her their names. So you can save somebody's face into the glasses and it will be able to give you an audio description of that person. As well, if you walked into an unfamiliar environment, it will be able to identify if there's people in the room, even if you hadn't saved their face. It also does things like color and banknote recognition, and it also has product recognition or barcodes. So Yasmin can go into the shops, scan a barcode, and it will give her the information of that product. So again, another wearable to support with everyday living. Now we've got some software to look at now, more software. So this is called Dragon Naturally Speaking. This is a piece of software for Windows. And this would allow Yasmin to dictate into her computer in order to create her essays or her, whatever project she might be working on. Eventually, she'll be working on her dissertation as part of a university course, and she can dictate. So anybody that struggles, whether they have a visual impairment, struggles to operate a computer, okay, they can use their voice with Dragon. Obviously, this isn't just for somebody with a visual impairment, for anybody that has a physical impairment as well. So perhaps somebody that doesn't have the use of their hands to be able to comfortably operate a mouse or a keyboard. Okay, Dragon is the perfect solution. So you can, as well as dictating documents or any sort of text, you can completely operate a computer using Dragon. So you can operate the mouse, you can operate the keyboard, and you can operate the entire computer purely by using your voice. Okay, so again, a perfect solution for somebody that is visually impaired. Also, for anybody that has a literacy difficulty as well, perhaps dyslexia, we have a colleague who uses Dragon to write his reports, because as he finds it takes him a long time to write documents, so he uses Dragon to dictate. We've got a video in a second to show you the JAWS screen reading software. Now, this piece of software would be very important for somebody that has no vision at all, so light perception only, like Yasmin. JAWS screen reading software, okay, as the name suggests, would read everything on Yasmin's computer screen so that she can navigate her computer effectively. So she wouldn't use a mouse at all. She would just use a keyboard and what we call keyboard shortcuts or keystrokes. She would be able to navigate around a computer using JAWS screen reader. And you can use JAWS and Dragon. You can combine the two, but I won't go into that in too much detail. But yeah, JAWS screen reader, we've got a video on that in just a second. And then finally, okay, we've got the Knfb Reader App. This is another app, as it mentions there. It's available for Apple, Android devices as well, but it is also available on a Windows machine, Windows 10 devices. And again, this is another text-to-speech solution. So this will convert any text into speech. It also has Braille capabilities as well, so you can connect it with a Braille display or with another Braille device. And yeah, again, this is a portable solution that would allow Yasmin to scan a coursework or printed documents, and it does have an indication as a vibration or a beeping feature, which would allow Yasmin to sort of understand where the text is, if it's in the right place. It tells you if it can see the edges of the page, if it can see the corners, that sort of thing. So it gives you an indication of where you need to hold your phone in order to scan the text effectively. Good. So Tony, we'll probably drop the OrCam demo if that's all right. Yeah, thank you. And we'll just go straight into the JAWS video. So this is our colleague Stuart over in Dublin in our Ireland office, and Stuart is blind, and Stuart is a very experienced screen reader user. So he's going to be talking us through the JAWS screen reading software. There we go.
Hi, my name is Stuart Lawler. I'm Business Development Manager for Sight and Sound Technology here in Ireland, and I'm also Head of Content Creation for the company. Now, I'm here today to talk about screen readers because I also happen to be a screen reader user. And in this case, we're talking about JAWS. So JAWS is an application that sits on your computer and that captures information as it travels to the screen and outputs it in synthetic speech. It's a very efficient and effective way for a blind or low vision person to access information. In its most basic form, it can read text as you navigate through the screen. So if we're on the Windows desktop, for example,
Folder view list view Outlook 57 of 76.
It reads icons as I move around.
Weak application part 1. Weak WhatsApp. Publisher.
Or if I want to search for an application and open Word, for example,
Word app. Press right to switch preview.
I can do that by pressing enter. Email has become a core part of everyone's working life, and I know in my case, I tend to live in Microsoft Outlook. Well, luckily, JAWS works seamlessly with Outlook. So here I am in my inbox, and I'm flicking through my messages, and there's an unread message here. Somebody I've contacted is out of the office. I want to know when she might be back, so let's ask JAWS to read this message.
Out of office read, field of message, plain text. I am on annual leave from the 4th, 17th August 2020 and will have limited access to my emails for this.
So I know when she's back, and I'm going to press escape to close my message.
Inbox.
Now I do need to check my calendar for a meeting on Friday because I need to check if I'm available at 12 noon. So I'm going to quickly go to my calendar.
Go to calendar. Look. Stuart Lawler.
And I'm going to arrow over to Friday.
Friday, 18th September 2020. One event, one busy.
I have one event. I'm not sure what it is, so let's find out.
Julian Jackson podcast interview, 10 o'clock to 10:45. Friday, 18th September 2020. Time busy. Locate.
So I'm meeting someone at 10 o'clock for a podcast interview, but it's only going to take 45 minutes. So I can slot in a meeting at 12 o'clock. Well, the internet has become a key part of all our lives, hasn't it? And indeed, many people need to use the internet many times every day. In fact, a lot of work-based applications are now web-based, meaning that you use them from your web browser. Luckily, JAWS works with all the major web browsers on the market. In this case, I'm using it with Microsoft Edge, and I've already opened the Google homepage.
Google.
I'm going to search
combo.
For assistive technology research. And I'll press enter. When I get my search results, and they've just come up, JAWS will quickly allow me to scan or skim the results to see what I might like. This is what we call, in screen reader terms, moving by headings.
Ads heading level, assist one volunteer today heading, subscribe heading, donate heading, web search results, scholarly articles for assistive technology research heading level 2 link. Of instructional design and assistive technology research link. Handbook of special education technology research link. 81 cited by 83 heading level.
I can easily flick through these search results, pressing enter on the one I need to access, and interrogate it further. Here's how JAWS works in Microsoft Word, a word processor used by so many people to do so many things every day. Well, in its most basic form, it can read the documents I have on screen.
We are looking at how screen reading technology like JAWS can interact with standard applications such as those found on the Microsoft Suite.
Now, if I want to interrogate that document a little more, I might want to see, for example, what size font and what is the font characteristics of what I'm currently writing in. So I'll ask JAWS to give me some info on the font.
14-point, black on white, Arial, normal style, line spacing, 0 lines.
So I'm using 14-point Arial, which is fine. The word JAWS in this document, I want to highlight or bold it to make it stand out.
Interact with, intercam, JAWS.
There's the word JAWS. I'm going to highlight it,
JAWS.
And I'm going to bold it.
Bolded, 14-point, black.
And JAWS has confirmed for me that that word has been bolded. And finally, at the top of this document,
assistive tech.
I have a line that says assistive tech. I want to make that into a heading, and I want to center it so that it stands out as the title of the document. I'll now ask JAWS to give me characteristics to verify that.
16 points, steel blue 4 on white, delivery light, heading 1 style, line spacing, 0 lines, paragraph formatting, centered.
So I can tell that my document is now centered and ready to go.
Okay, there we go. Thank you, Stuart. So you'll notice as well that Stuart's that the speed of the voice on Stuart's screen reader there, JAWS software, is very very fast. Obviously that can be slowed down. Stuart's a very experienced screen reader user, so yeah, so he has the speed very, very fast. But obviously for somebody that's either new or less experienced, they can slow that right down. Good. Okay, so there we go. We'll leave it there because obviously we're going to pause for questions. But those are our 5 solutions that we would suggest for Yasmin to support her with her studies, and yeah, everyday living as well. So lots packed in there. But we'll just whiz through these last slides. Those are solutions we looked at. Should we discuss this after questions, Glenn? You're muted, Glenn.
Sorry. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll go to this slide after we
questions.
just picked up any questions.
Yeah.
This is a quick run through, and it's a very narrow feel of the sort of technology that's out there. But we thought we would try to give you the type of assistive technology that people with diabetes have been receiving, certainly through us over the last several years, and thought it might be interesting to see some simple stuff, some free apps, and some more sophisticated products like the Envision devices. So yes, we're very happy to take questions now. Probably easiest to stick them into the chat box, although I'm sure Sam can get you on if you raise your hand as well. All those should be at the bottom of your screen somewhere.
Yeah, if anybody wants to voice their question, then we can unmute you.
So I see nothing getting picked up at the moment, although we'll give it a couple of seconds if people are typing into the box.
Can I just ask a quick question, Glenn, if that's all right? It's Jane.
Of course.
Here.
Yeah, hi,
I was
Jane.
thinking, if a person wasn't sure what technology was available to them or what might be the most suitable for them, where might they go for advice? I mean, would it be your guys? How would they actually, the RNIB maybe?
Well, there's a range of different places you can go. Obviously, the RNIB are a national charity and have a lot of resources, and they're there really to help, certainly with support, actually supporting people who are moving towards losing their sight. Once you've got to a low vision situation, the local low vision charities, there's about 160 of them all around the UK, would be a point of call. But actually, as we've have up there on the resources slide on the screen at the moment, we are also a point of support for these people. We're no cost, no obligation supporters really of people. We are obviously here to help educate you on the call today, and we would also support you in your role in the workplace as well. So either you or an end user could connect with us at Sight and Sound Technology through our email, through our website, through our chat box, and even through our YouTube channel. You can get to us and get a lot of free advice and support on technology. So yes, there's lots of places you can go to get that. And what we like to do is obviously bring a range of technologies so that people can feel and see what fits their need, where they need to go, and obviously their pocket as well. So there's a range of places you can go for that, but we're obviously quite keen to be the type of people who support professionals like you out there in the field.
Thank you very much.
I've picked up no more questions in the box and no hands or anything raised. I'll move on to the last slides because I know we tried to make the session an hour. This could easily run to 2 hours and we could get a lot more tech in, but we can obviously happily run other scenarios again if anybody out there has anything specific that they'd like to see us cover. We have a smartphone app that you can download called WhatAT, WHATAT. It's on Android and Apple, and you can find that in the App Store. That gives you the type of technologies fitting all of the different eye conditions. So if you have an eye condition that you know, you can go look that up and you can look and see the technologies that might work for it, including videos, etc. You can go to our website, www.sightandsound.co.uk, and there's a whole range of technology there. Lots of live content now on our YouTube channel. Go to YouTube and just type in sight and sound technology, and you can find everything from little 5-minute coffee cup videos to show you how to use devices, all the way up to full webinars around technology or around issues supporting technology. There should be one there on social distancing, for example, for low vision. And as I said earlier, we're out there in the field, Tony, Sam, and a team of people. We're out there completely covering the UK and Ireland, and we go to people's homes, we go to places of work, we go to anywhere where people might need some support. And we have a tech support team, so people can ring us up if they have our technology, and we'll help them over the phone. We help them remotely if we can, or we come out if we really need to come to see them face to face to get them up and running with technology. And we look obviously help and train and support people as well. So there's a whole range of places you can go for more information about how sight loss technology can support sight loss and support people with diabetes who do have sight loss. And so that's really what we were hoping to do today, was to show you that we're a touch point. There's actually a link on the top of our website, which is the Referral Portal. So it's not a very good picture here on the screen, but right to the top of our homepage is a Referral Portal, and people who want to refer patients to us can register themselves on this portal, and then you get email to show that you've registered. You get allocated someone from our team to look after you, work with you, and then you can actually refer patients directly to us through this medium, and then you can keep track on how that referral's gone and connect with us. So that's possibly quite a good way, simple and easy way, that you can connect people with us or connect yourselves with us through that medium as well. So lots of ways in which you can get support, not just through us, but there's the charities out there, and of course the RNIB, who have a lot of resources on their website as well. So that's a quick rush through sight loss and assistive technology, and I hope it was useful for you, and obviously happy with any feedback. And as I say, we recorded the session and we'll send the link to Jane so that you can access it again later and see what you missed, and also for colleagues who missed the session as well. Thanks very much. Jane, over to you to wrap up.
Thank you very much, everybody, and thanks for everyone to attending. I hope you found it interesting and useful. And yeah, definitely this is a forum where obviously we can put Sight and Sound in touch with colleagues here. If they want to follow up with you, then we'd be very delighted for that to happen. So yeah, I think we're bang on 11 o'clock. People probably will be trickling off the call now to go to their other meetings and stuff. So thanks everybody. Thanks Glenn, Tony and Sam and Dan for your introduction. And obviously we'll look forward to posting the video online and so that other colleagues can watch. And our next session is the 24th of June, by the way. We're looking at immunotherapy, what it is and why it's exciting. So we hope people will come to that one as well. So thanks everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate very much the opportunity to talk to you. You know where to find us, and have a good day yourselves. Thank you.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.